Hello and welcome to the show. We are back at the Italian map with some more of your automation rally cars. Today, starting with a car built by M. Gobler. It is the Dudica Group B. Quite an interesting looking car, quite a cool looking vehicle. Has some interesting ideas that we haven't seen from a rally car as of yet down here. While it is all-wheel drive, it is rear-engined. It is a 2-litre flat 6 at the back of this car. I did also notice while spinning the camera around, please pay attention to the brakes. Or the lack of brakes. That's mildly concerning. I'm not going to lie. Of course, these rally cars, part of this competition, had to be built with less than $15,000 worth of materials and so on. And I guess some cost cutting has gone on the brakes of this car. It's not very big brakes. I'll be honest, I'm a little bit concerned. As is tradition, with Beam, a flat 6 engine means an awful amount of racket. The flat engines are incredibly noisy most of the time on this game. We got a little bit of understeer going on from the car so far. Naturally aspirated, flat 6, I should say, in this one, which is nice, about 300 horsepower, just over 300 horsepower in this car, so a fairly sensible amount of power, and quite nice power delivery so far. Let's not go and play out with the trees. Oh, the handbrake works, which is good. Handbrake works, and power out of the hairpin, not too shabby. It's not actually been my best driven run, I will be perfectly honest with this so far. A little wide at the hairpin doesn't help into, frame rates had a little bit of a whoopsie through there. I would appreciate, game, if you could not do. It's not a place you want to have any issues with whatsoever there. It's fast and you need to be precise with the cars. It's not actually, I say it's not bad to drive at all around here. The final hairpin, a little bit of a nasty one. Easy to catch cars out in the braking zone. Amazingly, the tiny brakes on this car not really giving us trouble. In this stage, unlike the autocross stage, you don't have as much nasty braking zones almost to deal with. It's a good first run, from the car. It is a good first run indeed, a 19.4 from the car. Okay, it's not quite going to challenge the Sunburst and the Scarab. They're up at the 15s, but that's not a bad first run at all. That's not a bad first run at all for the vehicle. Yeah, I was really worried that we'd be melting the brakes. I thought those brakes would be complete toast by the end of the stage, but no, that is not doing it. I mean, it's probably not going to be the best slowing down car we will have through this course, but they do better than expected. Yeah, the autocross stage, of course, while you are never going very quickly around our old autocross stage, you were on the brakes a lot because you'd have all of these small acceleration zones, whereas here, for example, and you might tap the brakes a little bit around here just to get the car back into line, or if you've overdriven the corner there slightly, but I guess you have a little longer to cool them in between zones. I mean, hell, maybe the material of the brakes, maybe they are fancy brake material-wise, but just made tiny. I say we don't know. I can only speculate on that one. So I guess that could be possible. Unfortunately, I haven't figured out how to allow the different HUD elements when I built the scenario. I forgot that it's like when you build scenarios on this game, you have to. You can't set the HUD elements while you're building the scenario, which is why I've only got basic ones. Oh, I turned in too much through there, and I clipped the wall. I don't think this run was going much better. It was very similar in terms of run. Christ, that has bent the front. I mean, I'll be honest, not the strongest of cars. That clip on the rock face not only tore the wheel off, it's actually bent so much of the front underneath that our other front wheel no longer touches the ground. That's quite impressive, I will be honest. That is quite impressive indeed. I mean, I've almost got it pointing up the right way. I suspect quite a lot of cars have got minimal amounts of safety equipment and so on, strength, because to try and save money and everything. Amazingly, I have got it going. I mean, we're not going to be able to steer it, we're just bouncing off of everything. Oh, and there's trees. We're not going to steer it. Oh, that tree's drive-throughable. Fantastic stuff. Okay, run number 2 ended up in a lost wheel. What can we do on run number 3? I've got to brake earlier for the hairpins. I think this is what I'm learning with this car. While we're not actually full-on melting the brakes, I do need to be more careful for the hairpins, getting the car slowed down. Yeah, I don't know what temperatures the brakes are getting to. That is we're not seeing smoke pouring off of them, which is generally a fairly good sign. And now we're going to be a little more careful with this car. I kind of trust it a little bit. It doesn't really seem to want to slide around, and I'm happier to drive the car with minimal amount of sliding about. On this very, very narrow stage, I feel like sliding the cars around is going to be risky. Aside from like the hairpins here, once we've got them slowed down, I'm okay with getting them a little bit sideways there. So almost weird. It feels like I get this car slowed down for these hairpins. I say this way. I'm getting it slowed down for the hairpins, and I just can't seem to get it turned in for that one. I can't get it turned in the way that I'm expecting it to. It doesn't have massively large tyres on here, particularly massively large tyres. Anyway, what can we do for this hairpin now? Let's get it straightened up and sorted out here. There we go. Give it a little bit of handbrake around there. Punch it out the other side and see what we can do in this acceleration zone. I said 300 horsepower is not too bad for the vehicle. We are a little wide through the chicane. It is a 90. Whoa! We made a spin dryer out of it. That was an impressively savage spin dryer out of the vehicle. Another fairly similar run in the 19s. I mean, I think a 19 is a pretty damn good time down this stage. Certainly not a bad car to drive. So I wonder if the rear engine might not help it with some of the turning at the hairpins. Either way, though, yeah, certainly not a bad car to drive down there whatsoever. I was worried about the brakes giving up on it. They don't. The brakes work. Yeah, not going to challenge the Scarab, but still a pretty decent time. The next vehicle to go through the course is built by Glider Gaming. It is the Nebula Lioness Rally. It certainly looks the part. I think it's a pretty good looking car. Like many cars, certainly like many of my cars, not quite sure what to do with the back of it, but the front certainly very much looks the part of a rally car. Another all-wheel drive vehicle, this time more sensible in terms of engine, position and everything. A 2-litre turbocharged i4 at the front. As I said, all-wheel drive, 198 horsepower in this one, so it is actually the least powerful car to drive down this stage. It is the cheapest, though, as well, at 12,772. So, yeah, quite an affordable, quite a lot under the 15,000 budget. Let's go and see what we might have to work with in this. Now, this does have ABS. I forgot about that. Yeah, ABS is a funny thing. While on the tarmac of the autocross was almost essential, out on the dirt it can actually be quite a problem. I did say that in the initial challenge, initial announcement and so on. Yeah, I guess some cars it can be helpful, some cars it basically removes all braking. So we're going to have to be a little bit careful. This one here actually not too bad. This one here not too bad on the old slowing down front. Now this car did have the electronic, or some electronics in it, the ESC. Now if cars come with that, again, as I said at the start, they will be turned off. Sometimes the ESC stuff on Beam can get very unhappy and struggle to allow cars to put any power down, because it'll basically just try and stop them moving around, which on dirt is going to happen constantly. So yeah, I will always turn that off, but ABS, you have to start disabling all sorts of fancy things. So instead, if you built a car with ABS, that's what I will end up running with. But yeah, this is not actually too bad to work with. Oh, although I've got a lot of understeer going into there, and I can't get it out of there. I don't know what it is with that bloody corner. A couple of these hairpins, we've like slowed it down for what I think is a suitable level, and then it just gets to the turn and it just runs out of grip going around. But there we go. It's going to be not a great first run. However, it will go. Ooh, ouch! That's a nasty catch on the tree. That is a very nasty catch on the tree. Bugger. Not a very good first run. However, there's a good few seconds to be found from this. As I said, 198 horsepower. This is the least powerful car we have run down this stage, and power certainly isn't everything. I doubt the winning car is going to be putting out 800 horsepower, but we might struggle a little bit more with acceleration from this. Let's try and get you out of turn one. Certainly not a bad driving car in the slide. Very quiet in comparison. Oh, that's too much speed as well through there. Christ. Oh, that's not pretty. That is not... Say that's not pretty. It's kind of dug itself into a hole. Definitely does not have the grip that I was expecting, and we have seen from some cars. Even chucking it sideways is not a good idea. That is a very big crash. That is a very big crash. Like, from that angle, it almost looks okay. And then you look at it from that angle, and there's a big hole where the front left-hand corner was. Jeez. Right, okay. Definitely sliding it around is not the way to go, because that is a very short second run for this car, and this is the one that's going to have to count then. No pressure or anything, can't afford to make mistakes. Definitely don't try and get away with sliding the car around, it does not like that in the slightest. We can't kind of get away with... We can't get away with being aggressive with this car. We can't throw it into this corner and slither it around. It just doesn't seem to have the grip in places. Oh, come on now. Slowly does it through here. It's going to have to be a little bit of a cautious run. I think that's just what we are going to have to be doing. Now, let's jump on them brakes into the hairpin. Did not want to get stopped down there at all. That was a panic and grab the handbrake moment. Or it was struggling a little bit. So yeah, the first run it seemed okay. That time there I think I got... maybe I got a little greedy under brakes. Or maybe it was the ABS playing funny buggers. I'm not sure. But yeah, let's... Whoa, okay. You know what I said about driving through that bush causing cars issues? I've done something funny with this one. It's almost like the good old GTA 5 bush collision physics, just to kind of spat my car back out again. Don't know whether this car is slightly taller hitbox or what it was that would cause that, but there we go. Now we'll slow you down for the hairpin, try and chuck you around there. There we go. That's okay. Now it is just the run to the finish line. We'll have a little bit of a slowdown through the first part of this final chicane. Run towards the line. It's a better time. 25.5 for the Nebula Lioness. There we go. 25.5. It's not too shabby down there. Yeah, for the least powerful car and for what was perhaps not the best handling cars. I wonder again. It's got really high suspension. So I wonder if that's a little bit too high, a little too much body roll. Either way, through the corners, not quite the most amount of grip, and certainly not going to be the fastest accelerating, but certainly not terrible down the course, and it definitely looks the part. Also had a rather spectacular crash, which is always good for some bonus points. The next vehicle tackling our rally stage today is quite the mad-looking car, built by Leopard. It is the W90, our first rear-wheel drive car to tackle the stage with a multitude of wings going on around it. Yeah, we've got a mid-engined, flat-4 rear-wheel drive vehicle. Here we've got some big tyres, some big wheels. I'm not actually sure what tyres has it got on it. They are off-road tyres. Cool. 327 horsepower going on in this one. It is a 4.5 litre flat 4 as well, so it is a pretty big engine. It's the second biggest engine to actually have run so far in this series. Will make plenty of noise. Oh, didn't quite release as I was expecting. Will make plenty of noise, but of course, rear-wheel drive is not the... I'd say it's not the ideal driveline on the dust, whatever surface we're on here. You will always be getting more traction with the all-wheel drive cars. However, this will have a chance of, or it will in fact become the fastest rear-wheel drive car to have run through the stage up until this point. Stands a chance being the fastest two-wheel drive car, of course. It's going up against the Alpha GT V6 rally kind of replica, if you like. How are the brakes down here? Not too bad. Of course, we will not be able to immediately punch out of the hairpins in the same way that we have done with the all-wheel drive cars. Of course, this thing is going to move around considerably more than, well, I say everything else. It's going to wiggle. We'll get a lot more oversteer from this, although I will say whether it be the combination of wings, whether it be the suspension setup, whether it be a combination of parts or tyres, whatever it is, this is actually not too bad. This is a nasty surface. This is a very nasty surface for driving cars down. There is no doubt about it. And this, for a rear-wheel drive vehicle, is doing pretty damn well. It's not going to be perfect, and as I said, I'd be surprised if it was mixing up there with the all-wheel drive cars. However, it is going to be mixing up there with the all-wheel drive cars. That's a 120.6. That is a good time. That's a seriously good time for a two-wheel drive vehicle. As you can see, no drive lines at the front of the car. For a rear-wheel drive vehicle, that's immensely fast. That's immensely quick. Alright, let's see what you can do on this second attempt. We can get a slightly better launch. I mean, there's always going to be some time lost getting it off of the line there. It's always going to spin the wheels a slight bit more. Suspension-wise, we have not got the same high ride height that we have seen from quite a few of the cars here. You probably can't get the same ride height with this sort of body style, or possibly, anyway, not quite sure how it works with different body styles and different sort of suspension configurations underneath, but I think it's a lot more difficult to get this thing to be like a massive high-riding monster truck, essentially. Yeah, we haven't got the silly ground clearance, but it does seem that if we run across the slightly bobbly inside bit at the hairpin or on the outside of here, it seems like the car is okay with it. Like, I trust the car to be quick through there. I think that's the difference. Like, this has actually surprised me in that I have quite a lot of confidence in driving this decently fast around here. This is the trick. When, you know, the series is always going to be, I run a car 3 times, it's got to have accessible. Accessible performance is better than outright performance. Oh, and I've pushed it too hard. Oh, I thought I was good through there. Just clip the rear. Yeah, well, we've beans this one away, unfortunately. I don't actually know if I can get out of... I mean, technically, I can cheat and go down this way because I've... I mean... If it was an actual competitive scenario, it won't matter because we won't beat the time anyway. If it's an actual competitive scenario, I'd put a checkpoint down the other hairpin. It doesn't matter because I'm just doing this for a test and I won't be gallivanting away. I think I broke the rear suspension in that crash. I did. Oh, and we pinged off of that wall again. Yeah, this car... Now, so far we're 3 for 3 on crashing on the second run, trying to find more speed out of a vehicle. Outside of me being a little too confident through the rock archway, if you like, yeah, this gives you more confidence than a lot of cars in these early runs. It feels like it will stick to the road. Now, sometimes that confidence is repaid by a adventure into a rock face, but that's just going to happen. Yeah, accessible performance is in many ways better than just pure outright performance. If a car takes 20-25 runs to get the hang of down here, it's going to be no good in a series that I get 3 with each of the cars. You know, that's just how these things have to run. Otherwise, I would be here all year, all hours of the week, getting through this. Oh, come on, get out of that hairpin, you bugger! Getting through all of the many cars. I'd love to be able to go faster with this. It's just where can I push, and where is silly? Where is going to be that just easy overstepping the mark? It isn't the single worst rally stage you'll ever come across this. However, there are a couple of places that are very nasty. It's very easy to just, you know, go a millimetre wide and then you are in trouble. We'll have a little bit of handbrake into the final hairpin. Not really ideal. Don't really want to be sliding the rear-wheel drive cars around all that much. It's very easy to lose a stack of time slithering and sliding around with the rear-wheel drive cars. Nah, that's not going to be... We actually lost a bunch of time on that one. The first run... first run was the best. First run was the best. I'm kind of surprised. That felt like a half-decent run. In all honesty, that felt like a decent run. It wasn't there. The speed was not there. The first run through the course was the best of the lot. However, as I said, for a rear-wheel drive car, that is damn nice. It's damn nice. Very well sorted out. Gives you confidence to push it a bit. To try and carry more of the speed. Doesn't oversteer too much whatsoever, which is nice. And yeah, I'm impressed. And the final vehicle to run through the course today, built by Fletch. It is the Fletch RS5 314 horsepower in this, what looks like a fairly sensible rally car. However, this one here is also a little bit unusual. First of all, it's rear-wheel drive, and second of all, we've got another rear-engined car. Was not expecting to see a hatchback that could be rear-engined, if I'm honest, but there we go. Yeah, we've got a rear-engined hatchback with 314 horsepower. 2.5 litre turbo, I think turbo i4, might not be turbo, it is turbo i4, that gauge just hadn't loaded when I paused the scenario, because I thought it was turbo. But there we go, yeah, 2.5 litre turbo i4 on this one, so decent size engine. I mean, the i4s, the turbo i4s are always going to be popular, certainly cost efficient for this. I've got a lot of understeer, and I do not have the traction we saw from that W90. It moves around quite a lot. Whoa, it gets a bit... okay, it's happy to slide. Oh, it's happy to slide. Nope. This is an interesting car to drive. Interesting being the optimum word. I'm not sure rear engine is going to be the nicest thing to try and get down this course. That was kind of... It was oversteering and then it kind of doing all of the steers in one go. Oversteering and understeering all at once. Or very quickly following one another. Christ, just see the boost pressure that goes on with this. That probably won't help either. Very, very sudden bursts of power from the engine. Well, I mean, the first run has ended up in the trees. So every car today has ended up in the foliage at some point around here. Okay. Let's back this one off massively for the next run. I suspect if I'm in the wrong gear at the wrong time, this car is going to have about 10 horsepower. It does not see... Yeah, if I'm in the wrong gear at the wrong time, it does not enjoy it, and then it suddenly finds its power band, and then it wants to go very, very quickly. And I don't know whether that's a good thing or not. Yeah, it's certainly not around here. Now, we know we're going to get understeer around this tightening part. We're not going to have the grip to try and keep it pinned, so let's not do anything stupid. Oh, it's moving around quite a lot. Let's slow you down for the hairpin. Yeah, it always feels like the car is constantly moving somewhere. It doesn't really want to ever be settled in a straight line, which does not give you a large amount of confidence. I didn't quite get the hairpin ideal. I just daren't attack the corners so much with this because I'm not sure what it's going to do. And that's the difference between this and the W90, both rear-wheel drive, both with similar power figures, admittedly different bodies, different engine configurations, and probably different suspension and whatnot. Yeah, the difference is there's a bit more confidence in the W90 to be able to attack a corner, whereas this, I'm just not sure what it's going to do. Yeah, okay, ended up in the rocks as well with the W90, but it was just more predictable down here. For example, we're actually moving around quite a lot, just trying to get it in a straight line. It's moving around. Don't be too brave across there. We will head across the finish line. It's a 26.4. There might be some. So there's probably some more time to be found in that. So we ping it between the walls and bend. Well, certainly the front wheel. No, amazingly, the rear wheel didn't get bent. Yeah, there is probably a little bit more time to find in this car. I'll be honest, quite scared of it. There's a little bit more time to be found with it, or possibly another trip into the rocks. Let's go and see what we can do with the car. That's gone quite deep into the first corner. Now, you can get away a little bit with running that deep. I mean, it's not ideal, but it's also not completely and utterly run over if you go out that way. Oh, God, please just make a corner. Now we've got no... don't know if I wanted first or second. Probably should have changed down to first a little earlier, but when I didn't, going then down to first and back to second, just didn't really quite work. Now, if we could make the hairpin, locked up the rears a little bit through there. Come on, get around there, if you please. Come on, there's no go, and then lots of go all of a sudden. Yeah. Don't think, between the combination of gearing and engine power band, does not quite work at this stage. It doesn't work at this stage, but it's not helped by the handling characteristics, meaning it's just too difficult to try and keep it pinned up in the higher RPMs, basically. I don't trust this car in the slightest to be sliding around through here. Oh, I thought I was going to crash into that rock again, because the car's quite wide at the back. In fact, with the, I guess that's all the extended arches is quite wide. Around the hairpin we go, and let's try and make the most of the power in a straight line. If I can actually keep the damn thing in a straight line. We do get the checkpoint there, and that is a run towards the finish. I think it's similar speed. Whoa! You can see how softly sprung it is there, Christ. That's a hell of a bounce from the car. That is one hell of a bounce from the vehicle. Yeah. I mean, there's a great many combination of things on that made it difficult. There was a great many combination of things on that, from slightly twitchy handling characteristics to uncooperative power band / or combination of power band of the engine and gears. Get it down there, you can drive it through the course. It's just quite the terrifying thing to keep stuck on the, well, dusty, dirty, whatever it is we're driving on. So, on to our leaderboard, and the Group B would be the fastest vehicle of the day. However, it could only manage a 5th place. It is just under a second down on the Dragon Motors vehicle. We are still a fair way off the likes of the Scarab and the Sunburst, but still I think a sub 120 down this rally stage is pretty good going. The W90 is probably the most impressive car of the day. Gets into 6th place, the fastest rear-wheel drive, certainly the fastest two-wheel drive vehicle, and that was remarkably capable, remarkably comfortable almost, driving down this rally stage. I think for rear-wheel drive cars to beat, it's going to take some beating. That is going to take some beating. In fact, for a two-wheel drive vehicle of any description, I think that's going to be a tough one to beat. We have to go a bit further down to find the other two vehicles. The Nebula will go into an 11th place for now, 25.5 for that vehicle. I think we struggle with perhaps a little bit of lack of power in that vehicle. The RS will go down to a 12th position, a 26.4 from that. It does beat the front-wheel drive GTV, and it's not that far down on the Nebula. It's just very difficult to get a feel for what that car was doing. It moved around so much. It was it was just a little bit inconsistent, a little bit sketchy, quite difficult to, well, keep control of, in all honesty. That, though, is going to be it for this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, a goodbye.